January 12th. Yep, I forgot that. Monday, January 12th, 2026. The first item is the annual election of Board of Zoning Appeals officers. This is a requirement by state statute every year, for those that don't know. So we'll start with nominations for president.
Nominate you.
Nomination for me by Mr. Mull. Second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor show by raising a hand. I'm going to abstain. Motion carries 3-0 with one abstention. Nominations now for vice president of the board.
I nominate Chris.
Nomination but for Mr. Mull by Mr. Peters. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor show by raising a hand. Motion carries 3-0 with one abstention by Mr. Mull.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Welcome to the center.
Okay.
Oh, go
I
ahead.
don't know if we have to do live roll since we're missing.
No, only if
I got you.
roll call would only be if like
Yeah.
one of us was
Okay,
when he's off.
Yeah. I got you.
Hey, you were just talking about. The next item is approval of the minutes from December 8th, 2025. Staff has informed me we're continuing that to the 26th. We didn't know or. Motion. No. All right, we don't need a motion for that. All right, special requests and continuances. Seeing none. Findings of fact, BZA 2025-042, a development standards variance. Petitioner Gregory Ilko. Entertain a motion.
In consideration of the statutory criteria, I move that we adopt the written findings of fact as presented, incorporating the evidence submitted into the record as our final decision and final action for variance petition number BZA 2025-042.
Motion by Mr. Milborn, second by Mr. Mull. All those in favor show by raising your hand. Motion carries 4-0. No old business. Any old business from the floor? Seeing none. New business. BZA 2025-043, a development standards variance for the northwest part of block number 1 in the Grove at Stones Crossing commercial subdivision. Petitioner is Gregory Ilko on behalf of Franciscan Alliance. They are requesting relief from 2 sections of the Unified Development Ordinance. One is section 10-02-19A, a commercial medium format zone development standards front yard setback to increase the front yard setback along State Road 135 from 80 feet to 105 feet. And then section 10-02-19A, a commercial medium zone format. This is to increase the maximum percentage of impervious lot coverage from 70 to 75%. Are all the notices in order?
Yes, they're in our files.
Copy of Greenwood comprehensive plan and Unified Development Ordinance.
All those wishing to speak to this, please be sworn in by our secretary.
Please raise your right hand. You swear under penalties of perjury for, Do you swear under penalties of perjury the testimony you are about to give is true to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
And I would request that after you speak, would you write your name and address on the paper behind you on the desk behind you? And you're going to speak as well. Write your name and address for the record.
Name and address just.
Am I on?
Yeah.
Greg Ilko with Crossroad Engineers, office at 115 North 17th Avenue, East Grove, Indiana, 46107. Here before you this afternoon to represent GCG Investments. Greg Gurnick here representing GCG as well. In the audience, the owner of the property is Franciscan Alliance. We've got the owner's consent form on file with them for the development standards variance requests for the property that was described. Where we're at is the southwest side of Greenwood Corporation limits on the east side of 135. More specifically, we're at within rather the Grove and Stones Crossing commercial subdivision. We're at the southeast corner of State Road 135 and Grove Crossing Boulevard as you enter into the commercial subdivision. We're just north of Stones Crossing Road. There's on the bottom of the screen. Current zoning of the subdivision is CM. It is commercial medium. To the south of us is commercial small, to the north and to the east, commercial medium as well. And then across the street, we're actually into Johnson County, unincorporated Johnson County. And there's a couple different zones, MR and GC, both multifamily, residential, and a general commercial. And that's to the west of us to give you the idea of the zoning about the property. The existing tract is a platted block. It's block number 1 within the Grove and Stones Crossing commercial subdivision. This was actually platted, designed and platted through Johnson County back in 2007. At that time, it was Zone B1. The property was subsequently annexed into the city of Greenwood in 2011, and it was actually brought into the city Zone C3. And then with the most recent UDO updates, there are 21, I think, 22, it changed the zoning classification to CM, to commercial medium, which is where we're at currently. In conjunction with this development plan, similar I was with you guys about a month ago, actually for the findings of fact that you just approved, the anticipation is to do a final plat change on this block to split it up into 2 lots and then have a remainder of lot 1. So what we're looking at only is what I've designated as lot 1-2, which is the plus or minus 2.2 acres in the northeast corner, or I'm sorry, the northwest corner of block 1 of the Grove and Stones Crossing commercial subdivision. So that is where these variances would pertain to at this time. The proposed site plan is are 2 plus or minus 5,000 square foot buildings, multi-tenant buildings, each having a drive-through component that's reflected there on the concept plan. The drive-through is stacking and movement are on the east side of the building with movement counterclockwise to facilitate pickup from the driver window. So the north face of each building would be the pickup window. And then we've got the majority of parking is within the front of the buildings, 2 aisles, which is the maximum that you can have within the front of the building per code. And then we have allocated to the east of those buildings some parking for employees. And then to the south of the southern building, we have some parking as well to meet the parking requirements. The proposed lot lines of that 2.2 acres, and I'll get into this here in a little bit, goes all the way to the north side of Grove Crossing Boulevard, as you can see in the bold line, and then it goes to the center lines of the private drives, and that's consistent with the internal workings of the commercial subdivision itself, where the property lines basically go to the center of the roadways. These are private roads; they are not public roadways within the city of Greenwood's inventory. Just to give you an idea of the product type that's going to be there. We don't have anything on the docket that pertains to the architecture, but so just this is the rendering of the elevations for the north building, the north elevation, which has the drive-through window there in the top left corner, and then the rear elevation, which is where loading would be. A lot of the mechanicals will be not facing State Road 135. Drive-through stacking would actually be on that side of the building. On the top right, and then what would be facing 135, you'll see in the bottom left corner, that's the west elevation, and then the south elevation, with this being the north building, would be facing to the undeveloped block that's being created with the final plan change. Very similar, the south building, almost identical, just a little bit different, but again, the drive-through component is on that north elevation of the south building, the west elevation there on the bottom left, that's what will be facing 135, and then the rear elevation consistent with that north building, and then the south elevation, which would be facing the north buildings, or I'm sorry, the south elevation of the south building would be facing that undeveloped. I misspoke. The south elevation of the north building would be facing the drive-through window of the south building. So As stated, the variance requests that we're here for are for the front yard maximum setback and the maximum lot coverage allocated within the CM district for this lot. So variance 1 is what we're asking for. The bulk of the building is 105 feet from the right of way of State Road 135. This is an ask consistent with some other properties that I've been before you on. Actually, another case on the docket coming after us has a similar ask with the setback from State Road 135 to the 2 parking stalls and the drive aisle width, and then providing the 10-foot landscaping buffer, foundational landscaping, and then the user here has some outdoor seating that's in the building. That pushes the building back about 25 foot past that 80 foot. So the practical difficulty with that in and of itself, with the parking stalls, the 10-foot buffer, the 10-foot landscaping, and any sidewalk in front of the building, those numbers add up to be more than 80 feet in and of themselves. So the fix would be to try to eliminate parking up front. However, the practical difficulty here is that we've got loading, drive-through components, and employee parking in the rear, where it's just not practical to put any of that parking to the back of the building and expect and have those pedestrians come back to the front to enter and engage with the users of the structures. So with that, we're asking for the variance of that max 80-foot setback. The second variance that we have is max lot coverage of 70%. As I described in the configuration of these lots incorporate the private roadways. So we are kind of penalized by the fact that we have to take into account Brook Crossing Boulevard and the private shared driveway to the east and the private shared driveway to the south. I think the intent of the ordinance with the 70% lot coverage is to really get green space around what would be considered naturally the lot of being developed. So what this graphic shows is if you discount the shared right-of-way, I'll call it right-of-way, the shared pavement that's highlighted in blue, that 2.2 acres, including that blue area, we've got 1.63 acres of total impervious. And then the green space is only 0.57 acres, so that's the lot coverage of 74.1%, plus or minus the 75 is what I said in my application. So if we take away that blue area, that totals approximately a half an acre. So if we just calculate the true lot coverage, eliminating the roadways, that total impervious area without the shared blue area that I've got highlighted is only 1.13 acres. So that lowers the lot coverage, I'll call, to 66.5. So roughly 70%. We're meeting that 70% maximum criteria. I think if we implement the intent of the code. So a couple other practical difficulties that we'll have here, or that we have here, is that, as I mentioned, this plat was originally brought in through Johnson County with a zone B1 that didn't have these max coverage restrictions. And then even when it was originally brought into Greenwood in zone C3, it didn't have those max lot restrictions. So not until very recently, within the last 4 years, did this max lot restriction be bestowed upon this lot. So that's another practical difficulty that we're having. So hopefully I've answered your questions. If I need to go through each of the 3 findings, I can, but I didn't have to last time, so I'll save everybody the headache. But I appreciate your time. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
And we will work our way to those. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor? Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak against this? All right, I will turn it over to staff.
So staff recommends denial of both variance requests. This whole property is vacant, lots aren't separated yet, and staff believes that they could create a site plan that does abide by our UDO. But once again, a formal site plan hasn't been submitted, so we've been limited in what we can request.
Mr. Ilko, anything you want to add after staff now?
So the expectation, so this is a block, and the whole purpose of a block, when you plat a block, the idea is that it's going to be subdivided. Again, you're going to do the final plat change that we're doing. So if this entire complex, if it was known and one user was coming in without having to change anything else, there could potentially be an opportunity to meet maybe even the lot coverage. But the way the functionality is in that we have, and specifically, I'm going to talk to variance 1 at this point, with the functionality of the way this lays out, to press the buildings up forward to meet that 80-foot max and require those customers and visitors to cross all that traffic, cross the functional aspects of the development, I think is unsafe, and again, a practical difficulty as it goes to the findings. As far as the site plan itself, what you're seeing is basically what the detailed site plan is going to be. I coordinated with Gabe on that, and I confirmed, and actually I've got an email from him dated September 30th, and I can enter this in the record. It said, he just says, Greg, there's technically no minimum commercial site plan requirement for applying for the variances. Technically, you could proceed before applying for the site plan. So that's what we did. And the reason we did that is the developer's not going to want to bear the cost of my detailed engineering on a roll of the dice that he's going to get his variances in the future. So he's really doing this, not getting the cart before the horse. He's asking for the variances first, and then with this site plan and approved variances, we'll follow up with the detailed site plan.
Okay. With that, I'm going to close the public hearing and turn it over to the board for questions. Mr. Peters?
I have several comments, and I agree with you. You couldn't go into full site engineering without knowing what you're going to have there. Totally. I'm assuming that what's driving the setback is the use of the buildings as restaurants. I mean, if they were medical or something else, it could change that. But
Well, partially, yes, because of the outdoor seating component, that certainly presses them back. But again, when you do the math of the 10-foot additional buffer off of 135, plus the parking space, plus the drive aisle width, plus another parking space, plus the standard 10-foot foundational planning, plus sidewalk in front of the building alone, you exceed 80 foot there. And like I said, to offset that, to try to meet the ordinance, we have to eliminate a row of parking, and then we gain that 18 feet right away. But again, we're fighting a couple different things here. We don't want to have our customers walk past all this drive-through, all the loading, the back doors. We want them to come in front and go straight into the front door.
all right, and I do agree there are properties to the south of this that are just like this, very simple. The other one is, wasn't the impervious, or is any of the impervious land area already accounted for in the whole drainage structure of that entire block?
Yeah, I tell you what, that's a great point. I'm sorry, I didn't mention that. Staff did comment on the fact that the open space is to assist with the drainage, and I can tell you that when we did, because I was involved with the design for Ben and Brisbane back in 2015 when we were doing this, the calculations for the impervious area, because we didn't have the max lot coverage, assumed a curve number of 93 with the lot developed. And so the detention ponds that are within the commercial subdivision, and I can show you.
Now, is that the one near the apartment, senior apartments? There's one at the back of the Emmanuel site there.
There's 3 ponds total, yeah. So there's one at the northwest corner, or northeast corner of Grove Crossing and part of Grove Drive, one at the southeast corner of Grove Crossing and Stark Grove Drive, and then one here on the far northeast corner of the property. So when we designed this entire subdivision, the curb number actually anticipated approximately an 85% lot coverage. So with the calculations that I showed you, with the coming down to the 66, I mean, I would say that even with the, if we take it in the gross was only 74. The design covers 85% lot coverage. So
So no matter,
drainage wise,
regardless of impervious in the zoning, you still have to meet the stormwater requirements of the,
absolutely, absolutely,
which you have.
which
So,
we will
okay.
be, yes, correct.
So like,
Mr. Molly?
Remind me, how many parking spaces are required for each section? Do you know?
I don't have that information.
I was just curious. I'm just curious, like, if it would benefit either going the front or back with that, and then losing some of that green space too, so. I don't know, I got really nothing, that was one thing I was thinking about.
Mr. Milburn?
No.
I do not have any questions. So with that, I will entertain a motion to enter everything into the record.
I move that we admit all evidence presented in regard to this matter, including the notices, receipts, maps, photographs, written documents, petitioner's application and attachments, petitioner's statement, detailed statement of reasons, the staff report prepared by the planning department, certified copies of the UDO and comprehensive plan, testimony of the petitioner, city planning staff, and any administrators, and all other exhibits presented via the oral written for consideration by this board in regard to this petition, and to include testimony of those present this evening.
Motion by Mr. Moles, second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor show by raising hand. That motion carries 4-0. Next up, a motion for the docket itself for request number 1, which is the front yard setback along State Road 135 to be allowed to change from 80 feet to 105 feet.
I make a motion that we approve the variance.
Motion by Mr. Peters to approve the request, second by Mr. Mole. All those in favor show by raising a hand. Motion carries 4-0. All right, request number 2, which is a variance to increase maximum percentage of impervious lot coverage from 70 to 75%.
I make a motion, we approve the variance request.
Motion by Mr. Peters, second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor show by raising a hand. Motion carries 4-0. And now a motion for creating findings of facts.
Having considered the statutory criteria, I move that we direct the corporation's council office to draft written findings of fact regarding our decision on variance petition, or variance request presented in variance petition number BZA 2025-043. Said findings specifically incorporate the staff report and evidence submitted into the record for consideration and adoption by the Board of Zoning Appeals as our final decision and final action regarding the petition at our next meeting.
Motion by Mr. Mull, second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor show by raising a hand. Motion carries 4-0. Mr. Hooker, good to move forward. Next up is docket number BZA 2025-044, a use variance for 686 Echo Bend Street. Petitioner is Leah Betts. This is a request for approval of a use variance in order to operate a nail salon commercial use in the residential large zoning district. I don't know what everyone's here for, but I didn't explain this before, so I need to. All those wishing to speak in favor have 15 minutes. All those wishing to speak against will have 15 minutes. They want 5 minutes rebuttal. So I should have explained that before. All those wishing to speak for or against, please stand and be sworn in by the secretary.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear under penalties for perjury that the testimony you are about to give is true to the best of your knowledge? Everyone say yes. Thank you. And I would request that you speak, after you speak, to please put your name and address on the pad of paper on the desk behind the podium. So we'll have officially for the record.
And just for clarity, that 15 is total. So if 5 people speak in favor, they have 15 combined, 5 against. Just an example. So are all the notices in order?
Yes, they are passed.
Submit the Greenwood Unified Development Ordinance and comprehensive plan.
All right. If you'll give us your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Leah Betts.
with 666 Echo Bay Boulevard, Greenwood, Indiana, 46142.
All right, if you want to go ahead and tell us about your variance.
I'm just proposing for a small outbuilding on my property. It's 14 by 16. It does accommodate 10-foot easement on my neighbor. I already own the business, it's already established, it operates in the size space and right in an office building. I only see 4 or 5 clients a day, 4 or 5 days a week. I don't believe all of that are vehicle traffic in my area. It's a similar size outbuilding, but a lot of my neighbors have. Don't believe it will upset the neighborhood or cause undue traffic or burden for any of my neighbors. Description of property or anything like that?
No, it's just kind of a tell us about, whatever you do or don't want to.
Oh, well, I
Just
mean, it would be ADA compliant, approved by the city, approved by the state.
All right. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this? In favor?
Yes.
Go ahead and approach.
Hello, my name is Chris Summerall. I live at 713 Blackbird Lane, Greenwood, Indiana, 46142. I live directly across the street from their house, and I am for them doing this. I'm not friends or anything with them. I do not see a problem with this. So,
All right, thank you.
Derek Ferguson, 719 Blackbird Lane, Greenwood, Indiana, 46142. So we are located just pretty much across the street from their residence as well, fully in support of it. It's really no different than a bar in someone's backyard, one client at a time. So she has a little one, so she can be home for a little school and be there when she gets home.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Garrett Sneal at 664 Echo Bay Boulevard, Greenwood, Indiana, 46142. I'm direct neighbors with the Abets, and I have no problem with this. They've been nothing but good neighbors for us. They've had no issues. I've seen no difference in traffic or anything in relation to their business. They've been nothing but kind and considerate, straight neighbors. They've just been very friendly. So I'm in support of this.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else in favor? Seeing none, we'll start with those against. Whoever wants to speak first.
Rob Hartman, 1395 Echo Bend, Greenwood, Indiana, 46142. My biggest concern is if this is allowed, what's to say you won't have people want to put tattoo parlors or do a mechanic shop in the backyard? It's just a gate for other businesses coming to the neighborhood. The residential neighborhood, I want to keep it that way.
Okay.
Rebecca Hacker, 1376 Echo Bend Street, Greenwood, Indiana. We've lived in this neighborhood for 30 years. This is the first I've ever heard of this kind of. And my problem with that is, agreeing with Rob, is what if she wants to expand after that, make it bigger? She's adding a small spot, but what if she wants to expand? Where are these people going to park? I'm concerned about the traffic flow, even though she says it won't disrupt it. I just think it should remain a residential neighborhood. So I'm not in favor.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Wanda Lady. I'm at 537 Whippoorwill Way, Greenwood, Indiana, 46142. I'm here to speak against the rezoning of the property. I am an original property owner in Section 2 of Whispering Trails. When my husband and I bought our property in 1986, we never dreamed that our residential area would become commercial business. If this variance to rezone to commercial is allowed to happen, it could set a precedence for future businesses to be established in our neighborhood. We don't need more vehicle traffic or cars parked on the street that would jeopardize the safety of the children that play in the neighborhood, the children that get on and off school buses, the many neighbors that walk or run in the neighborhood, or just the general safety of the people that live in Whispering Trails. The petition states the accessory building would be built to similar other buildings in the neighborhood, which according to the picture that was submitted with the petition is nothing like the other mini barns in the area. I know my mini barn is home to lawn equipment, patio furniture, pool floaties, fishing poles, and it doesn't have a wall of windows. I have nothing against those who work from home, as that is being on a computer in your house. I am against a commercial business operating out of a residential neighborhood with clients coming and going throughout the day. I sincerely hope you will consider our request to deny this being rezoned from residential to commercial. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
My name is Marcia Sanders. I live at 539 Echo Bay Boulevard in Greenwood. I'm here to oppose the variance because it represents a clear expansion of commercial activity in a residential zone district. People have already spoke before me talking about concerns of other businesses, excuse me, coming into place. It would cause a chain reaction, I think, if this variance was approved. There's no doubt other people in our neighborhoods that will go, well, maybe I'll have my salon in my house and things like that. It's clear to me, and I think everybody in this building, if you are in a customer service related business, your intent is when you open that business is growth. Where will this business be in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? Does the neighborhood have any recourse at that point in time? This will also impact property values, or even the appeal to future buyers to come into this neighborhood. It would erode zoning protections and turn a residential streets into a mixed area. The consistency of the zoning must be enforced. I implore you to think about a home occupation and a personal service establishment are two different things. I appreciate your time and I hope you will deny this request.
Little Wayne from Michael Terry, I live at 1373 Echo Bay Street on the corner of Echo Bay Street and Echo Circle. Speaking of traffic, we have a lot of traffic parked on the streets at Echo Bay and at Echo Circle. And as far as business in a residential neighborhood, how would you like to have a bar, a mechanic, or whoever right next door to you, or 2 houses down from you? If she says she's only gonna do 4 or 5 hands or customers per day, that's money wise, that doesn't even add up to what it would cost to build a building. She's gonna have to run plumbing, restrooms. She's gonna have to have electricity, have to have sewage. Most of one of the customers have to go to the bathroom. Economically, it's not even possible. I actually do oppose having this done in our neighborhood. This is a residential neighborhood, not a commercial neighborhood. If you start now, you're going to continue to do it in other neighborhoods. You're going to clear Greenwood out. That's all I have to say.
My name is Tom Randall. I live at 603 Echo Bend Boulevard, corner of Echo Bend and Quail Run. I'm opposed to this. My biggest concern is
is the precedent that is being set. We've been in this neighborhood for a little over about 20 years now. And the biggest draw for us moving in there was because it was residential, it was a quiet neighborhood. We live close to banks and supermarkets and hardware stores, and we get whatever we want within a few minutes. Be back into our residential quiet neighborhood where the most disturbing thing you might run into is somebody going their lawn on Saturday morning. I just would implore you, I think that a zoning variance is important, and I think it is important that if you make an exception, then it ought to be for the greater good of the community and not for one particular individual. I have no grudge against the person that's petitioning for this variance. I just don't think that this is the right place or the right time to put it in a residential area. So I'm opposed to it, and I hope you will consider our concerns. Thank you.
If we, that paper on the desk, you'll just do that.
Sorry.
Anyone else against? All right, seeing none, Ms. Betts, you get 5 minutes to respond to all of the comments.
Yes, I'd just like to reiterate, I've been in business for 10 years, 5 people a day is where I sit. Proving that, I have no intention to employees, I'm a sole proprietorship, will always stay that way. I know previous variances have been granted with contingency. I'm happy to agree to contingency to not utilize street parking and not have clients arriving past 8 p.m. So that's been helpful in the past, make neighborhoods feel better, small business coming in. All of the windows she mentioned in the plan is actually doors, those probably been French doors in the site plan I submitted. Probably be removed unless they're required. Again, building to be ADA compliant, approved from the city, approved from the state, to operate as a small solar business. Feel it would greatly increase traffic. I can easily accommodate 4 cars in my driveway. I've never had 4 clients in my salon at the same time in 10 years. Two at most. Usually over the last 10 minutes monthly. Do you have a list of the neighborhood? The letter, any other questions, happy to answer.
Yeah, the board, we'll get to the board asking questions here shortly. So if you know anything else, the remonstrators get 5 minutes as well to respond, and then we'll turn it over to the staff and then the board. So we'll do that. All right, there's now 5 minutes for remonstrators, those against. If there's anyone with any closing statements, comments, feel free to.
Hi, I'm a call-in on the Zoom webcam. If you would like to make a comment, would we have to be sworn in, or can we just freely talk?
You'd have to be on video and sworn in.
Okay. Give me 1 second. If I can get my camera on. Settings.
IT, while he does that, can you let us know if he does come on video? Can you watch for him to come on video? We're going to go ahead with her if he does. Go ahead.
Again, my name is Marcia Sanders. I'm already signed in. I just wanted to add another comment on the research I've done and things that we should be concerned about when opposing this is that the variance reads about a unique physical hardship to approve a variance in a residential neighborhood. There's nothing about this land that requires a salon. Basically, we're talking about the land. Personal preference and financial convenience do not meet the legal standard for a zoning variance. So check the legalization of that variance, because that's how it's stated. Thank you.
Before we try, anyone else in the room? Did he ever come on I'm gonna turn it over to staff now.
Staff does recommend denial of this variance. Beauty salons are prohibited in our UDO. The intent of a home occupation is to allow business to occur without apparent changes to the residential neighborhood that would show that there's a commercial use. With being ADA compliant would come with a 36-inch wide smooth hard rolling surface to get from the driveway to the backyard. An accessible parking lot that's possibly striped with a sign, a gate. Sorry, I have an email from our building. A gate must operate and meet accessibility requirements to open, which include hardware. And then additionally, it's not on the city to uphold covenants, but in their plat, non-residential uses are explicitly prohibited. And that's to preserve the character of the neighborhood.
Do you have anything you want to respond to staff with? If not, you don't have to, but you get a chance to respond to her.
I will say the sidewalk proposal is actually very similar to what two of the neighbors already have. A sidewalk that comes off of their driveway and goes wrap around their backyard through their fence. So from our perspective, it would be different from what several neighbors already have as far as the sidewalk.
Okay. With that, I'm going to close the public hearing and turn it over to the board to ask questions. Mr. Peters.
Just a comment, I've heard it from several people, the HOA and the covenants don't allow this. Correct?
That is correct.
Well, we don't really have HOA.
There's covenants with the land, I'm sure.
The covenants do run with the land. They remain in effect unless formally amended by a majority of the lot owners.
And just like she said, is she's acknowledging that exists. The city would not have any authority in that.
Here's a copy of the HOA right there.
We don't. It ultimately, it's a matter of that's just information that's out there. Mr. Mull?
No questions.
Mr. Milbar?
No.
I do not have any, so with that, I did forget to acknowledge that there were two, there was a letter and an email that the city received that I will have entered into the record. One is from Jeremy Elmore speaking against this docket number. They live 6 houses down from the location, have for 20 years. There are multiple new families that have moved into the neighborhood over the past few years. These are younger families with children and multiple vehicles. They don't want to see extra vehicular traffic congestion and business being conducted in our backyards. That's just a quick summary of the email that the city received. The letter we received also is from Wanda, I'm going to assume Herzog, also a resident of the subdivision. They wish to oppose the petition of allowing the business, allowing a commercial use in a residential zone. There are many commercial areas already within the Greenwood area. I believe residential areas should stay residential. One exception always leads to more, and that is Wanda Herzog. So add those to the record. Those were provided to the board members. All right, with that, I will take a motion to incorporate everything into the record.
I move that we admit all the evidence presented in regard to this matter, including notices, receipts, maps, photographs, written documents, petitioner's application and attachments, petitioner's detailed statement of reasons, the staff report prepared by the planning department, certified copies of the UDO, the comprehensive plan, testimony of petitioner, city planning staff, and any administrators, and all other exhibits presented, be they oral or written, for consideration by this board in regard to this petition, and to include the testimony of those present this evening.
Motion by Mr. Mull, second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor show by raising a hand. That motion carries 4-0. Now a motion on the docket itself, which is a request to operate a nail salon, commercial use in a residential large zoning district.
I make a motion, we deny the variance request.
Motion to deny by Mr. Peters, second by Mr. Mall. As always, these get a little complicated. And all those in favor to deny, would please show by raising a hand.
Favor to deny.
In favor to deny. And that's why I always clarify. Motion carries 4-0. Now we got a motion to create findings of fact.
Consider the statutory criteria and move that we direct the Corporations Council Office to draft written findings of fact regarding our decision on the variance request presented in variance petition of BZA 2025-044. Said findings of specifically incorporate staff report and evidence submitted into the record for consideration and adoption by the Board of Zoning Appeals as our final decision and final action regarding this petition.
Motion by Mr. Mull, second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor show by raising a hand. Motion carries 4-0. And you can discuss with staff any other options, ideas. They're there to assist, but the variance was denied. We're gonna let the room kind of settle for just a second. All right, next up is BZA 2025-045, a development standard variance for 2807 South State Road 135. There are 5 requests in this. A commercial medium zone setback to increase the maximum allowable front yard setback, this time from 80 feet to 241 feet. There's the second request, which is another front yard setback from 80 feet to 101 feet. Let me clarify, the 241 feet is the east side, the 101 feet is the west facade. Request 3 is to increase maximum allowable lot size from 100,000 to 180,000 square feet. Request 4 is to increase the maximum allowable impervious lot coverage from 70% to 81%. And then the last request, fences and screens to allow trash receptacles and the required screening to be located in a front yard. Okay. All those wishing to speak, please stand and be sworn in by our secretary.
Is Mr. Elko still sworn in from the previous, or?
We usually each docket number just.
Okay. Raise your right hand. You swear under penalties for perjury the testimony you're about to give is true to the best of your knowledge.
It is, I guess.
Thank you.
He's more of an expert than I am on that. He's been.
Greg Oker with Crossroad Engineers, offset 115 North 17th Avenue, East Grove, Indiana 46107. Here on behalf of the developer Thomas English Real Estate, landowner of Shores Crossing Development, Victor Overy, I apologize, Victor Everingham, Victor Everingham, with Thomas English Retail Real Estate is here. Similar request, a couple additional ones from what I just presented to you. The property. There we go. Same vicinity, southeast or southwest side of Greenwood. This time we're just south of Stones Crossing in the Schwartz Crossing commercial subdivision. The project location is actually just south of the property that I was speaking with before you at that last meeting, the findings of fact just entered into record or approved here at the beginning of this meeting. So this is block A of the roads of the Schwartz Crossing commercial subdivision. Zoning on the frontage lots here are CM, to the east, the back part of the commercial subdivision is CL, commercial large. To the north and south of us, we have, as you can see, we have CM as well. And then in this instance, to the west of us is Barbersville, and it's C3 commercial, Barbersville zoning district to the east. The existing conditions here are simply the undeveloped lot that is ready to get constructed upon. The current plat here is the replat of Schwartz Crossing. And going back, just some backstory on this development, similar to the Grove Stones Crossing, although this one was done under Greenwood jurisdiction, it was done back in 2017 when the zoning was actually C2. And then we replatted it to here, creating the Block A and the Lot 2, and then a couple of other things. And in 2019, it was still C2. So now we're dealing with CM and kind of a shift of the goalpost with some of the development standards that were not anticipated as this was originally laid out, that all kind of offered us some of the expectations of the development and some practical difficulties. We try to meet those with the UDO that we have today. So the final plat change that is actually going through right now with the Lot A2 site development plan. When those variances got approved, we moved forward with that site development plan. And this final plat change, the creation of Lot A2, A3, and A4 are all being done in conjunction with that. So what we're talking about today for the variances, the 5 variance requests, is just for Lot A4 as depicted on the screen here. So the layout, the proposed development here is an integrated center in and of itself with 3 different buildings. Total building square footage is about 28,000 square foot. We're showing on this layout approximately 139 parking spaces, applicable or necessary handicap accessible spots. Again, we've got 2 rows of parking up front, with the drive aisle, and then we've got that additional buffer off of State Road 135, and then again some outdoor seating, some additional foundational landscaping in the fronts of the buildings that are necessitating that pushback from the 80 to the 101. And then the way this lot is configured, if you can look, the rest of the parking has to be behind the buildings. So that is without us making super long buildings in an east-west direction and having the parking back in there, that's necessitating that overly large distance, the 200+ foot setback from the internal road of Schwartz Crossing Boulevard. In conjunction with the variances that were approved previously, that kind of sets up the integrated center for both Lot A2 and A4, and it maintains the consistency of within the development as we look south of the Schwartz Crossing Drive, which is to the left of the screen, north is to the right as we're looking. So we got Jackson County Bank and then Vision Quest, all with the same geometric configuration. So that there's going to be a consistency with that as we include 2 rows of parking, which again is allowed, 2 rows of parking in front of the buildings, about 135 in this area. So the renderings that we have here, so this is kind of looking southeast. So the building with the V on it is the northern building, and then we've got the larger strip building in the center there. So you've got a gazebo and a nice patio, common open space there to break that up. And then kind of looking the other way, kind of looking northeast, we're looking at the southern building the southern building to the right of the screen, and then you're looking at the bigger retail space there in the middle, and you're seeing the 2 rows of parking. But this is not a big box. This is split up. The configuration gives the appearance of low density retail, commercial, restaurant use. And in conjunction, well, I'll do one more. So this last rendering kind of highlights the open space common area patio between the north building and oh, actually, this is looking south-southwest behind the building through the patio area. So again, the building with the D is the north building. So the south is to the left in under the screen here. But we would, the developer would commit to be substantially comparable with these renderings and this architectural design. With these variance requests, we're willing to add those as commitments. So jumping into the variances, the first variance request that we talked about was the front yard setback. I talked about the one off of State Road 135. I don't think I need to belabor that one anymore. But in this instance, the geometric shape of the lot and getting more parking in the back, obviously the buildings are that far pushed away from the internal roadway to Schwartz Crossing Boulevard. So that 241 is actually the max. That's the furthest we are coming from the property line of the internal roadway network. So that's kind of what we did. We said okay, the variances for that 241, and then the 101 foot off State Road 135 is to the main face of the buildings as they look west. The second variance, the dumpster locations. So the practical difficulty that we're here, obviously we're in a U shape with State Road 135, Schwartz Crossing Drive to the south, and then Schwartz Crossing Boulevard to the east. So we really don't have a backyard to put these dumpsters in. So we've got them situated internal of the commercial subdivision to the east of the property where they're accessible by dumpster trucks and whatnot. But because they're adjacent to Schwartz Crossing, they're technically in a front yard. So that is the need for the variance there. What we would be willing to commit to with these as well, in addition to the architecturally aesthetic enclosures that the dumpsters require, we would also commit to having landscaping around those so that they would be shielded that much more from both road traffic and adjacent lot owners. So we're happy to add that commitment into records. The third is the max lot size. So the CM district imposes a max lot size of 100,000 square feet. When the subdivision was originally developed under the C2, and even when after it was replatted, still under the C2, there was no maximum lot square footage. So we created that block of the subsequent lots in conformance with the ordinance. So now as we're developing this portion of that block, we have the 180,000 square foot lot. And I can only speculate that the intent of the new UDO and the maximum lot within the CM district is to deter big box developments, getting a Walmart right there at 135 or larger grocery stores, that sort of thing. And what we're proposing here, what the single developer is proposing here is kind of an internal integrated center with 3 different buildings, breaking everything up and then looking back at the renderings. As you drive north or south on 135, you don't see lot lines anyway, but you're not seeing one big mass building about 135 in here. So I think the practical difficulty is that the goalpost was moved from the C2 to the CM in the commercial subdivision in and of itself. But the intent of the ordinance is to go away from big box, and we obviously do not have that. So another commitment that we would offer is that we would commit to the layout that you have here with the buildings that we have shown, the 3 different buildings, the open patio space, and all that, so that if variance is approved, we don't do a bait and switch and come back to you with some like a 75,000, 80,000 square foot building. So that would be a commitment in association with that variance request. And then the final request, similar to the previous case that I was before you, is the lot coverage. So we do have the same practical difficulty in that the center lines of the road, or the center lines of the road are the property lines, and we have that impervious area that's actually shared that kind of handcuffs the developer. Now in this instance, what we are showing is that the total lot coverage, including all the roadways and everything, is 81%. And then if we exclude that, we do get it down to 77%. I will say that's still less than the 85% lot coverage that we have designed for drainage lots. So from a drainage reason, the lot works, but in the CM and that lot coverage, I don't think it incorporated or it didn't anticipate this sort of integrated center type development. So what we would ask is that the 77% that we have be accepted, knowing that the drainage is good, and we're providing that green space within the development as shown. So those are the 5 that we have with this lot. We have to answer any questions.
All right. And also, I forgot to do, but notices are in order.
Yes, they are in our files.
The unified development ordinance and the comprehensive plan.
Turn it over to staff.
Staff recommends denial of all 5 variance requests. Again, a formal commercial site plan hasn't been submitted. As a result, staff has not had the opportunity to evaluate building placement, access, circulation, stormwater, landscaping, or overall site functionality. So therefore, we can't give a confident favorable recommendation.
All right. Mr. Ilko, anything you want to add?
No, it's pretty much the same that we had before the site plan. Obviously, will come with approved variances. And I know we've run auto turn as far as site maneuverability, getting the fire truck through there, getting the dumpster truck to where they're located, and then drainage aspect of it. We did the design for the overall commercial subdivision. I'm comfortable with that. It's good. So based on this layout, we know that these are variances that we've got to get. So the next step would be contingent upon us getting these variances.
Okay. With that, I'm going to close the public hearing. Mr. Peters, anything?
Wasn't a lot of this already anticipated with Schwartz's entire development?
There have been a number of speculative concept plans and layouts done as Scott and Pete have worked to vision how the property is going to develop. So the short answer is yes. I mean, the expectation of having this done in this fashion when they originally did it back, starting back in 17, I would say yes. There's been kind of that vision. So again, as they were looking at this with C2 development standards, they're trying to make do with the changes of the upgrades to the UDO. Some of the development, St. Francis got done in the old UDO, and then we've got the developments to the south that we're trying to match into. So just trying to make it work. Yes.
And similarly, one previously, 043 or 43. You designed the site for stormwater drainage same way. You've already allowed for it in the calculation.
In Schwartz, yeah, we were the civil engineer for Schwartz Crossing as well. Yeah, there's 2 big ponds, one to the south of us here, then one in the CRG apartments, and it covers all the drainage for the whole subdivision.
Okay. You mentioned landscape around the dumpsters. How about construction of block, brick?
Yeah, they'll meet the ordinance. There are, Alyssa can speak to that, but I believe it needs to match the building material, correct? The architectural design of the enclosures have to match the building materials of the main structure. So that will be to ordinance, no variance from those. So we'll make them look pretty and then shield them with trees.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Ball.
All right, so can I go back a little bit? I was trying to write down what some of the conditions you were adding to the for each of the variances. So I want to kind of write those down to make sure I had them correct. So for request 1, did you add a condition to that one? I brain farted. Can't remember.
Actually, I mean, the commitments that we were proposing really dealt with all of them. We didn't have one specific for variance 1.
And then like variance 2,
it was really we were committing to the layout itself, that we would have, the three separate buildings, where they're located, and the argument would be that, the layout as we go into the detailed design will be substantially comparable to what is shown on the screen here. That was one.
Okay. And then, so that would go with 3 as well, right? Basically, would follow the plan that's on,
Correct.
okay. And then the dumpster one was the surrounding it with, adding landscaping around it as well as the walls.
Additional landscaping, correct.
Okay, and then, I don't think the impervious coverage had any other.
The architectural component was one that I mentioned as well,
Okay.
with the renderings that we showed.
I think that was the only thing I really had.
I would say if you do condition that, you might do like the usual we have where the site plan will
Follows
reasonably, or whatever it is, adhere to,
Conform.
conform substantially to Exhibit C. Mr. Melbourne, anything?
No, I do not.
I don't have anything. I recall the various times. Actually, I did have one question there. Looks like in Exhibit B, kind of the lot lines, there's a finger that points north to Stones Crossing, but then when like your site plan for the lot kind of cuts that off. I mean,
What are you referencing? My apologies.
Exhibit B, existing zoning map.
Is that in the staff report?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay.
It's part of A2 and
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it might be part of A2 and A3.
That's what he had on the, or I think that was one of the slides he had up earlier.
So it may be, there's a finger of land in this total parcel, Mr. Oker, that goes up to Stones Crossing. That may be A2 or A3.
Oh, that, yeah, it's actually A1.
Okay, there it is,
There
yeah.
Yeah, that's part of it, yeah. That's
Okay,
part of
so it
the
actually-
replat block, yeah.
Okay. No, I remember kind of everything else we've gone through and the replat we kind of had a hint this was coming, so. All right, well, with that, I will entertain a motion to create the record.
I move that we admit all evidence presented in regards to this matter, including notices, receipts, maps, photographs, written documents, petitioner's application and attachments, petitioner's detailed statement of reasons, the staff report prepared by the planning department, certified copies of the UDO and comprehensive plan, testimony of the petitioner, city planning staff, and Andrea administrators, and all other exhibits presented via the oral written for consideration by this board in regard to this petition, and to include testimony of those present this evening.
Motion by Mr. Mull, second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor show by raising a hand. Motion carries 4-0. All right, now to the docket itself, request number 1, which is to move the front yard setback on the east facade from 80 feet to 241 feet.
I motion to approve this, and that the conditions that it follows the substantially conform to the plan
And Exhibit C.
in Exhibit C.
All right, motion to approve the request with the condition that the site plan substantially conforms to what's depicted in Exhibit C. Second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor show by raising a hand. Motion carries 4-0. All right, number 2. The setback of the west facade from 80 feet to 101 feet.
I move we approve that as it substantially conforms to Exhibit C.
Motion to approve with the same condition.
Second.
Second by Mr. Peters. All those in favor show by raising a hand. Motion carries 4-0. Request number 3 to increase the maximum lot size from 100,000 square feet to 180,000 square feet.
I move that we approve this, and also.
With the same condition.
Yep, same condition.
Motion to approve with the same condition by Mr. Mull. Second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor show by raising a hand. Motion carries 4-0. Request number 4, to increase the maximum percentage of impervious lot coverage from 70 to 81%.
I move we approve this with the same conditions.
Motion to approve by Mr. Mull with the same condition. Second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor show by raising a hand. Motion carries 4-0. And request number 5, to allow trash receptacles and the required screening to be located in a front yard.
This one, same conditions as in Exhibit C, plus the added landscaping surrounding the dumpsters will be as well. That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to write
No,
that
that's all right.
so I don't forget. All right, so we have this one condition from the previous request plus added landscaping around the dumpsters. Motion by Mr. Mull. Second by Mr. Milborn. All those in favor show by raising a hand. Motion carries 4-0. I will take a motion to create written findings of fact.
Having considered the statutory criteria, I move that we direct the Corporations Council Office to draft written findings of fact regarding our decision on the variance request presented in variance petition number BZA 2025-045. Said findings specifically incorporate the staff report and the evidence submitted into the record for consideration and adoption by the Board of Zoning Appeals as our final decision and final action regarding this petition the next meeting.
Motion by Mr. Mull, second by Mr. Peters. All those in favor show by raising a hand. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you very much.
All right. Any new business from the floor? Seeing none. Any announcements? Seeing none. One final motion. So moved.